last 3 years, I think we kind of have seen it all, right? I mean, from formal office environments to full remote to return to work, geopolitical conflicts, pandemics, inflation, recession, talent shortage, and then some sectoral downsizing, digital rate disruption, wars, supply chain crisis, right? I mean, which further drives home the point that that today no normal is the new normal. And whatever happens, though, our research shows that workforce development remains the #1 priority for Indian tech industry organizations. And this annual report series that we have started with Indeed will aim to highlight shifts and trends on this topic, the future of work. Good afternoon, Ritu, Pawan, Sarika, Tripti. Thank you all for accepting to be a part of this important panel discussion right at the start of 2024. This is a topic which is not only close to the hearts of organizations, but also employees, as both stakeholders kind of navigate this shifting future of work. So for all session attendees, viewers, earlier on, Nirmala shared key findings of the report that nasscom has created. And what we will do in this discussion is to dive a little bit deeper on some of the important themes that were identified in the report, and substantiate those with some stories, personal experiences, and point of views from our esteemed lineup of CHROs. Without further delay, let's just get into the discussion. The first question to all of you is that, with this increase in focus on return to work this year, what do you think are key drivers that supported this shift? What are your organization's approach to the work models, including hybrid remote work strategies? How did it overall align with your talent management goals and your overall business objectives? Maybe I'll just go down the table and request all of you to chime in, because this is forming a crux of the report also.
So I can start, Achyuta. Sarika
Yes.
here. In CGI APAC, I think since last year, 23, we believed as the leadership that people should come back. And I heard Sashi and Sangeeta, everyone talking about, including the findings of the report, that hybrid work model is going to stay. And that's what is a strong belief. So few things we did in CGI, and I think we are reaping the fruits now. And a couple of them I would like to share to the team out here is a clear and transparent communication from the top. I think excessive communication was the need of the hour. Keeping it open and transparent really helped us to get connected and closer to the members. Second is communication to the members at large. In CGI, we don't call employees, we call them as members because they are the owners from day one. We encourage the managers also, who play a pivotal role because they are the front to the employees in driving this entire initiative. How did HR help them? We help them with defined plans, guideline documents, and real solid FAQ documents to help them answer any questions through the open door policy sessions we were having. They can go to the managers, they can come to the HR. All the large town halls, the all hands meet, the GPTW celebrations we did, we encouraged members to come to the office. And we had a lot of large footfall around that. And we did a lot of orientation sessions. The more we did, the more we came to know the questions that were coming to us. And everything was not black and white. So along the way, we started creating a lot of policies and guidelines. But a very important thing what we did was usage of tools and technology as a lever to develop the tracker mechanisms and to ensure that the exceptions we are giving is captured as a repository in the tool. And that helped us to link it to the performance measurement outcomes because we had RTO linked to our important processes, which is performance management appraisal process, which is our compensation or the annual bonus. And the last but not the least, it was the collaboration and partnership with the different functions. And as one CGI team, the way we worked while we were defining the policies and executing it on the ground. So I leave it to my other panelists to share their company's best practices.
Thank you. So communication, celebration, tools, technologies, and collaboration. These are the things that I pick up from you. Anyone else would like to go ahead, Ritu?
I'm yeah, happy to go next. It's great to hear the perspectives because it tells me that there's a lot of similarity in the thinking across the corporate world in terms of the employee sentiment capturing how really do we operate in this newfound knowledge of post-COVID, right, era of what really works for an organization. But end of the day, I think a couple of things that, and I first don't want to take it as a given that everyone who has taken out time on a Friday afternoon is aware of what Genpact's all about. So just to take all of you guys a little bit of 10 seconds of introduction to who we are. We're a digital transformation partner for our global clients. We are about 125,000 employees with very diverse backgrounds and experiences. And we work across more than 30 countries in remote locations, in office or in a hybrid environment. And that, by the way, was never the case. It wasn't something new to us post-COVID. We've been like this. Obviously, the hybrid was a lot more frequently coming to office, or there were teams that were coming all 5 days to office. Obviously, that stopped during COVID, and we were able to switch to a complete remote way quickly because we believe in digital transformation in-house as well for ourselves. So we were able to bring in AI and automation and a lot of digital platforms to remain the connect going on because we truly believe in the power of that connect and collaboration irrespective of where you are. Now, fast forward to where we are today, we are emphasizing on the need based on the client expectation, the account that you are serving, therefore, the kind nature of work that you're doing, as well as what you want to do. We're not taking it as a given that Ritu definitely wants to only work remote or she definitely wants to come to office all 5 days a week. If there is opportunity for flex in your role, we are encouraging that you come to office at least once a week so that you're able to collaborate, you're able to exchange ideas, etc. Having said that, that doesn't determine that you can't do that remotely either. A couple of things that we did when we introduced the hybrid nature of work back again was we said we're going to walk the talk. So you had the managers and the leadership first coming into office to really provide that security and safety and really ensure that employees felt that it was absolutely okay for them to start coming to work as well. That's very important, right? You can't just share empty words with employees who are as intelligent and as smart as you are end of the day. So that once established, as the team started to come in, it was also about providing workspace that could easily help individuals, teams, cross-functional, cross-border teams to collaborate very easily and ensure that they were able to do so in an environment that was conducive to their growth, their learning, as well as their opportunity to exchange ideas. So, Achyuta, for us, it's not really been so much of a dynamic opportunity that kind of came our way. It's been continuing from pre-COVID as well. However, I think it really clarified to us the way employees think is not going to be a cookie cutter approach of saying everybody's got to do the same thing. So for us, we've also enabled customization of what really a particular employee wants. And are we in a position to customize that opportunity for them by putting them in role that works for them? But if there is a client sentiment emerging and they do need their associated employees to their account to definitely come to office, we've enabled that as well.
Sure, Ritu. And I think you've said it right when you say that it's not a one size fit all when it comes to future of work. I think every organization, forget organization, every team within an organization may want to look at it in a very different manner. And you brought out the importance of the client, requirements, and also the walk the talk, right? How do you get the managers in? It's not always the freshers that have to come in and the managers don't. And we have seen enough examples of that. Pawan, I'll go to you. Tripti, I'll come to you last because you have a contrarian point of view. So I'll just move to Pawan first.
Yeah,
Pawan?
sure. So thank you, Achyut. For us, pre-COVID, we were 100% in the office working organization. About Tata Technology, so we are a technology company focused on automotive, aerospace, and industrial and heavy machinery. And what we do is we design complete cars. So start from concept down to launch kind of work we do. And so we never thought that engineering can be done with people sitting in their respective houses. And the kind of workstation, the kind of equipments you need for doing it, that was also very specific to office. And so the initial thought was that, if COVID comes and during COVID, how do we make engineering work from home? And I think during that period, our teams did a very, very good job of doing a lot of innovations and enabled people to work from home in engineering. And the good thing is that during COVID and post that also, we have been growing better than industry in the work we did. And so what it told us was that it is possible to work from home also and still do engineering. And in fact, we kind of had one project where 7 countries were working together during COVID and after that also. So all that actually led us to kind of have a very clear mind that we are not going to mandate 100% work from office. Hybrid is the way to be there. And of course, there are some functions which need to be in office. There are some clients who want people in their offices. And there are certain legal requirements like SEZ, etc., where we needed to kind of have people coming into office. Now, in those cases, we were very clear with the people that if you are part of any of these areas where coming to office is mandatory, then you don't have a choice. And we did all the planning which was required to make it happen. And the good news is that even today, we have only a guideline to people that 2 to 3 days a week you come to the office. But we have 50% attendance, almost 49 to 50% in India. We have some struggle in US, but other locations, I think we are doing fairly well. And so going forward also, at least I don't see we changing drastically. I do see SEZ rules change, and then they have been giving flexibility. This time also we have got, I think, up to December. Post that they may say that it's mandated, then a good portion of our workforce is SEZ. We will have to bring them in. And the delivery teams are very, very, I'll say, good. They planned out when last year, December was the due date, and we could have 50% people starting to come in about 2 weeks' time. So that's a kind of preparation which people did. Alongside what we are doing is we do feel that people working from home and not coming to office at all, there is a bit of an engagement issue, feeling connect to the company issue and all that. So we are doing a lot of cultural programs, like Dandiya happened. That time we had about 2,000 people in our Injavari campus, everybody dancing together and all that. So like that, we take every opportunity to make sure that people come. Recently, we have also added more facilities of sports, etc., in the campuses so that people have a reason to come, that, okay, let's go to office. It is equally good and enjoyable and all that. But we are right now not taking a hard stand, Achyuta, and we are comfortable because it is serving the purpose. And we feel that we'll constantly monitor it and tweak it. And as I think Ritu or Sarika said, we are tailoring. There are certain, we also took a very focused approach to diversity 2 years back. And so we are also looking at tailoring requirements for, say, would-be mothers or mothers with very, very small babies, etc. If they have some requirements, then we are looking at supporting them in a way that they stay in the workforce, deliver to their capacity, and later on stay as a productive employee in the company. So those are some of the thoughts we are right now having.
Sure, Pawan, and just kidding, but you use the stick, right? Dandiya. So that's both a hard approach and a soft approach.
No, we didn't expect, we were expecting 800, 700 people, but we had almost 2,000 people. So I think it works. When you create some condition, people are happy to come to work. And
Right.
Today, 50% is there. So we don't have to worry.
Great. Tripti, moving on to you.
Sure. So sorry for the bad throat. I'm in Mumbai, but still under the weather. So bear with my husky voice. So I just wanted to take a moment here to share what Cimpress, because maybe there is not enough recall with this name. However, if I say Vista Prints, many people will relate because, you know, that's the website that you log on to whenever you want to order something at a very personalized product, right? So Cimpress is a larger umbrella of companies, and just from the business perspective, we are into customized print, signage, apparel, gifts, any promotional products or packaging. We cater to all size of industries, businesses, individuals. Wherever we want people to express their brand identity and marketing messages. That's what Cimpress does. Just from the spread, we are a globally distributed, company. More than 15,000 employees spread across 25 countries, and we serve more than 15 million customers every year. That's what Cimpress does. And the concept, which is very close to everybody's heart today, because that's something that either the leadership or the employee, everybody is talking about, is what's the way forward and how do we make it most effective in our organization model. My personal take on this topic is that there is no right and wrong to this. I think it very well depends on what works for your business and where is that fair balance which comes, how business is then working with employees. So Cimpress in general operates at a remote first concept, and this is not remote only. A lot of times people think that this is a remote only organization, and we generally make a lot of effort to clarify that remote first means that we do meet, we do have in person collaborations, but those are meaningful, purposeful, intended collaborations that we do for whenever we see that there is a business need to it, or there is a team which is in need for it. So we definitely go to office. We definitely have a lot of forums and policies around which we go back and do a lot of in-person collaboration. However, our first thought process is that we have created our organizational frameworks in such a way that we are able to collaborate very effectively in the remote first environment also. So I think I'll take a cue from Sarika's conversation when she said that tools and technology is one of the primary things that everybody follows through. So there are multiple collaboration tools that Cimpress uses. Just to give few names, one is Trello, other one is Miro boards, where it actually feels like you're sitting across the table and having a collaboration. Effective project management tools, which Trello offers, which gives me a lot of opportunity to not ask the person, but just make sure that I'm able to see what the project management is happening and when the closure is happening. So effectiveness of the tools is something that we have used. We also have a very strong framework of OKRs, which is nothing but objectives and key result framework. And every time when I have sat through the OKR conversations on a quarterly basis, what we discuss, which was a very unique thing to me, is not what we have achieved, but if we were able to achieve this, was it too easy? Is the question that gets asked to everyone, right? And that makes us think on the productivity question that, kind of constantly revolves in our head is remote first bringing down our productivity? Likewise, there are many things. We have a huge culture of right first documentation, which is how we are kind of harmonizing the globally distributed team so that minimum number of meetings are done, because when you have global multiple time zones that you need to cater to, there is no one right time to just get on a call and talk. So these are some of the practices that we have used, which has actually helped us do remote first effectiveness. However, I'm not at all saying that meeting in person can be replaced by anything, but there are ways in which organizations draw effectiveness out of these methodologies that we follow through. More when we talk about this topic, but yeah, lots to share on this. Thank you, Achyuta.
Thanks, Tripti.
Giving
And
it
when
back.
you said remote first, I'm sure today you'll get a lot of hits. Your career page will get a lot of hits today. So moving on to the next question, I think what we have seen is that during the pandemic, as employees move to the tier 2 locations, homes and all, we have seen some companies kind of move with them. I wanted to check with any one of you whether you are evaluating or you have initiated a tier 2, tier 3 kind of a plan, redesigning your workplace strategy. It's not only about tier 2, tier 3, but also redesigning your workplace itself to attract people and look at the new priorities of safety, hygiene and collaboration, and also I think redesigning of workspace, current offices, and of course looking at new locations in some of the other cities in India. Are there any examples you would like to share?
I'm happy to go first. Are you guys able to hear me well? Because
Yeah,
I'm okay,
all good.
wonderful. I think a quick response here from Genpact's perspective is yes. It not only makes business sense, it is the right thing for an organization to say, hey, when COVID happened and the employees went back home, many of them, right? They were in rented accommodations, whatever have you, and they wanted that security of being with their families, etc. Does it make sense if we have a huge denomination of that, enabling employee base in a certain city, that we evaluate that city? By the way, Genpact is known to be a pioneer in moving to cities which are unknown to the larger industry base, and then we kind of take pride in the fact that we've originated and brought about attention to that country, so on and so forth, and build employability. With that history, it was not tough for us to evaluate new cities. I refrain from calling them tier 2, tier 3 because there's just amazing talent. We call them satellite cities because just by the sheer economy of scale, but what amazing talent. As the global hiring leader for Genpact, I've had the honor to meet youngsters in Warangal, in Jodhpur, etc. And I am amazed by their drive. I'm amazed by their grit, their determination to build a career for themselves, be financially independent. And I feel it's lost opportunity for any company if they don't expand their horizons beyond, the core primary commercial hubs, as we like to call them, the known level of, where we believe talent's going to be. I think as corporates, it's equal responsibility for us to build ourselves up further in these cities and provide employability, because it also caters to the need of those youngsters in colleges that perhaps are not considered in the prime definition of premium. But you will find amazing, talented individuals, and then it's your responsibility to invest in them further and upskill them to the need that you have. Because let's face it, unfortunately, the education system today, as it sits globally, by the way, not just in India, versus what the desire of a corporate to have as a ready-made individual being able to on day zero make an impact, there is a huge visible gap anyway. So upskilling is anyway going to happen. And therefore, we shouldn't go with a preconceived notion in case we carry that, I'll find that right talent only in certain cities or jurisdictions or regions per se. So yes, absolutely, Achyut. For us, it just makes a lot of business sense. It also is a way of paying forward of sorts, right? By moving to these cities so that the youngsters are gainfully employed and they gain the kind of experiences otherwise they'll be bereft of, just because they weren't born and brought up in a city that otherwise traditionally is known to produce that talent. So yeah.
And just one insight I have is that even though tier 2, tier 3 cities employ about 11 to 15% of total workforce in the tech industry, actually about 55% of the employees originate from those cities. So they basically relocate into tier 1 and cities. So, it's just think about looking at people from their homes itself. I mean, there's so much of potential there. Anyone else have a point of view, or we move into the next one?
Yeah, I just wanted
Yes,
to just add to, because I think it all makes sense what Ritu just said. So we have also worked on our existing facilities to improve them significantly. Luckily, we have a campus in Pune, which is like a college university, and there's a lot of open spaces and people have a lot of things, but we have kind of done it up much better now. And then when it came to, we have been examining moving to tier 2 cities, and we considered a couple of cities. And then I think about 2 months back, we opened our first office in Coimbatore. Today we are present in Pune, Bombay, Jamshedpur, Bangalore, Lucknow, Delhi. But Coimbatore is the first one where we went, and there are others being looked at. Our reason for going to these cities, so that also I think I want to bring up, that these days there are certain talent which is very, very niche and not available in general. The overall, there is shortage of talent in the embedded area, in AI area, and those areas. And we are finding that some of these smaller cities have better availability of such talent. And that also is another motivation other than cost to move there. So we are seriously examining, and we will be expanding more and more.
Sure. Happy to hear Jamshedpur is in your list, Pawan. I am born and brought up there. We've recently done some very good quality research with Deloitte, identifying 26 hubs. I'll share the report
Okay.
also with you, speakers,
That
and
will
I'll
be
also
really
share it in the link for the viewers to download it.
sure.
Moving on to the next question, I think this is something that probably very close to all of your hearts is, what are the key challenges, barriers when it comes to employee hiring and retention? And how is your organization kind of adopting, say, engagement initiatives to align with the overall workspace, looking at culture, looking at your social capital values, right? And creating your own unique employee value proposition for current employees and future candidates. Anybody wants to
I'll
start?
take this,
Right, Sarika.
Achyuta. Yeah, a very close to my heart topic, though Ritu handles the hiring, TA comes under me in CGI. So what has happened is last year particular, if I have to tell you in the IT industry, it was easy to really find the vanilla skills, which is your Java, .NET and all. But with the advent of the emerging technologies, and we talked about, I heard Sashi talking about AI, ML, cybersecurity and all, our clients expected a lot of super niche technologies. And that was very difficult to find because the talent pool outside is very limited. One, we started having our attrition go down, but this pockets and cohorts started rising up. And we were not able to hire. So there was always a catch-22 situation between the operations business team and the TA team. So we had to really apply critical thinking and thinking out of the box solutions because it was a changing landscape for all of us. So what did we do? This was the emerging technologies. I'm not sharing the name of the skill. And that is where we wanted to build a communities of practice, which we did it internally, where we picked up a leader who is very good in this and just told him internally, you pick up a group of people, a cohort, and start building their capability and capacity. Then we partnered with an external vendor and we went outside and we did 2 huge roundtable events, one in Bangalore and one in Hyderabad. We attracted about 150 plus people from the competition. And we not only shared with them the speciality or we spotlighted that India is the emergence of this technology. At the same time also, we branded CGI, not known because it's a Canada-based headquarters, but with 90,000 employees and $13 billion CAD. We showcased our strengths, our capabilities, and our culture of ownership out here. And what that made us do is we had about 100 people, proactive talent attraction. And out of that 185 people joined us. So when you go out in the market, and we had never done this actually, we just had said that let us go and try and experiment this novel idea. And it just clicked. One is we enhanced our networking. We had the proactive talent attraction. And the third one is we increased our joiner ratio. And that was a very sweet spot, which we really went and presented to the business team, what we could do and add value and credibility as a function to the business team. And that's where I'm saying, as we move to hybrid, as we move to emerging technologies, we need to really have 2 different models. One model is just going through the vanilla skills. The other model is, can we create a SWAT team who just focuses on the super niche and niche skills so that we give that customer delight and are able to meet the client's end-to-end offering.
Excellent.
So that's a little bit of a story, Achyuta, what we did last.
Good story. And Sarika, I think it's important because CGI, given a lot of government business you do, right? I mean, that's not easily seen for brands
Yes.
which do a lot of consumer-oriented business. So for you
Yes.
going out, I think this is going to really work out. So thanks
Yeah,
for
very
sharing that.
much.
Anyone else?
Yeah, for Tata Technology
Yeah.
also. So Achyut, what we did. So last 2-3 years have kind of really shown the talent is those who will have talent will be the winners in the market. It's simple. And the disruption of technology also is very clearly so big. And there's so many new technologies that there are not enough people. Somebody says, bring me a cybersecurity expert who has 20 years of experience. The cybersecurity became important only 10 years back or 12 years back. Where do you get people with that kind? So, and you take blockchain and all that. So for us, we had three approaches. One was we started building employer brand. And for that, we took help of our marketing team, and that helped us. But more importantly, we focused on our EVP, employee value proposition. First, we deployed a bot with AI who listens to employees at regular interval. And we started to collate what the employees are saying. And in about 3 months' time, we had data which told us what are the 6 areas where employees want us to act. And then we made focus plans, and we acted on areas of compensation benefit. We acted on areas of training, growth, policies, and employee benefits, and learning and development. I can take one example of learning and development where we created what we call it as our internal tech varsity. And this is responsible for all the hard skills. And then we also kept the soft skill development delivery team separate, because we didn't want the focus to get separated. And then when it came to talent acquisition, while we can keep fishing the market, we felt that it is our responsibility to create talent, and we should be prepared for 20, 30, 40% attrition also of that talent. But it's going in the industry and somebody will get benefited. And same thing others are also doing, we will pick up. So what we did was fresh engineer intake. We changed from almost 100 to 700, then to 900, and to then 1200 range. So that was a significant jump. TechVersity was given the responsibility of tailoring programs of 3 months to make them, work ready, and on niche skills and special skills and all that. And we took precaution in picking up people from campuses who are likely to get trained in those areas. So that was one major area to meet the talent requirement which was there. The other area was basically because we embarked upon growth in the niche area of embedded and software-defined vehicle and those areas where the skills is not there much. So there actually we decided to bring some senior leaders and then create the programs under TechVersity to train our existing people who can be trained. And so it is a mix of both, some external hire and creating the talent inside. And I think that strategy has worked for us. There are still areas where creating inside talent is very difficult. So those areas we continue to go out to the market. But we feel a mix will work for the industry, because if everybody is only searching or picking up from others, where is the talent getting built? And I think building talent is our responsibility as well.
Sure. I will just add another perspective, Achyut, from this is a very different lens is that, I think Cimpress India continue to focus on their culture and, how this has translated into really some of the employee value propositions, which I think everybody here on the table is speaking about. I'll just add on to that flavor is that here, I think the basic premise that we follow is trust. Doing things with a lot of accountability and also ensuring there is enough autonomy in everything that we do. And I think by and large, most corporates revolve around these value systems. But what I also saw here as a differentiator is that, there are a lot of policies, especially in the space of HR, which translates and, contribute to this, right? So one of the examples that I can share, and this is happening for the first time in my career, is that, we always know that leave is one of those gray areas, or I would say a heartburn for an employee, because you have to still go to your manager for seeking approvals. Here I think the biggest thing that we have made as a change is there are no leave approvals here. It is assumed that you will understand what accountability you have on your work. You will understand that, how you want to, manage it with as an expectation with your manager, and leaves are auto approved. It just comes to me as a notification in the system, and I get to know that, my team member is on leave. I feel practices like these are really talking and helping people understand the autonomy that they have to take their own decisions. We do not have a login or a log out time. So we generally believe in that, you decide your own day. How do you want to work it? And, we heavily believe in the culture of asynchronous working, which is where, when the globally distributed teams are there, I actually log on to the box note, I write, and my quality of discussion when I meet with the person is far higher. I have not made a single PowerPoint deck in last few months since the time I've joined this organization, because I have transitioned myself from that bullet point to writing it down and thinking it very deeply, so that the other person, when they are reading it without me being around, there is a huge context available to them, and that's where the elaborate writing comes into picture, right? Anybody who could not attend the meeting for a reason will always have a documentation which they can refer back to. Uh, uh, just in terms of the translation, my tech attrition is less than 5%, which in my tech experience I've never experienced. All my internal surveys, which happen on a weekly basis, has given me a very promising feedback from my employees, which is more than 85% saying that they have everything that they need from this organization. So these are just some of the testimonials which is validating that probably what we are trying to do from a retention, engagement, talent attraction is working well for me. So these were just some things that I thought I'll share with the group here as well.
Great, Tripti. Ritu?
Achyuta, I'm gonna want to add something if
Yeah.
that's okay with you. I'm sure you're looking at it and going, okay, I need more questions answered to make it fast. But listen, this one's very close to my heart. Having been in Genpact for 25 years, I've seen the evolution of the company right in front of me. And we do believe we are an AI first organization. And when I say that, what I mean is constantly looking at AI platforms that we have built ourselves with our collective intelligence, or we have procured from the market and partnered to bring them in and implement them. And incidentally, I was just using one of them early in the morning because I got a prompt saying, hey, congratulations, you've been in the organization 24 years, 9 months. Tell us, how's life? Are you happy today? Is everything going well? Is your manager spending time with you and giving you development feedback? And listen, I mean, I'm at the level where typically it's conceived that you don't need to ask these kind of questions, but we do not take things for granted. Having said this, we also believe in the power of employees and their sentiments. We treat them as our stakeholders, we treat them as our customers. And we realize the fact that, like I was telling you in the beginning, that everybody is looking for those customized experiences. So what really happens through these AI platforms, to give you an example, because we're so dispersed and we look and feel and talk and think differently, which is what our secret sauce amongst many things works for us, is the fact that we have an AI-based platform called Amber that reaches out to you at certain milestones, right? And it has nothing to do with, it'll only reach out because you're at a certain level in the organization. It'll reach out to everybody. And at those milestones, it'll ask you certain customized questions depending on the responses you're giving it. Let's say I'm really distressed, my manager's just not spending time with me, I have my compensation issues, I'm not getting the attention, I am not getting feedback, or guess what, everything's working really well. There could be certain key heartbeats, those milestones, those unsaid things, that body language, because your manager's sitting somewhere in Japan, you're in India, vice versa, whatever have you, that should not lead to some of those sentiments not getting captured. Obviously, it's a supplementary tool. It's not supposed to overtake that human connect that you build with your team as a manager, or vice versa. But it does serve the purpose of, when you are in dispersed environment, to say, hey, you know what? I was picking up some vibes from Achyut the other day when I was talking to him, that there's something off. Now I'm seeing Amber also say that there's something. I'm going to now go and block the calendar and talk to him. That has really helped us on the retention front. It's amply provided, that supplement to the managers. One more example that I'm going to give you, Achyuta. I know your heart is beating fast, that move on, but it would be wrong on my part not to talk about it, is genome.
Amber would have guessed it.
Amber, you. So genome for us is our pride, because I personally have gained so much from it. We encourage curiosity in the organization. The day I feel, even with my years of experience, I get up and I say, I know it all, I think that's going to be end of my career for sure. So the curiosity element, using it to get onto a very easily accessible, building your own learning and development content, to say, today I'm going to go and invest time in professional skill. Today I'm going to go and invest time in learning a digital skill. And I don't need to be proficient, let's face it, in certain data or certain tech related, given typically you consider, okay, you're from HR, whatever have you, but why not? I have free of cost access to this easily on the job content that I can consume, spend 5 minutes every day as I wake up in the morning. Literally, it's become second nature to so many of us. And so many of us have gained from this to be able to diversify and move to an adjacent job that we thought otherwise we'll never be able to get a chance to do, or a very, very different career trajectory that you never thought a person with an HR background would be doing. So we have people from very varied backgrounds doing very diversified, vast roles in operations, sales, HR, whatever have you. So that's really helped us in our retention story as well. And similar efforts go in when we build this up as a reality for our candidates in the market. So helps us in the ability to attract talent as well.
Sure, technology and lateral movement through learning. I think that's something. It segues into the next question that I have, which is more on, we know that this next gen workforce, the millennials, the Gen Zs, they almost account for 80% of the total technology industry workforce, right? And what we have seen is that sometimes what they prefer, what they want, their requirements may be different from some of the older folks out there. Do you think that organizations need to have two sets of policies, or they should have only one size fit all kind of an approach over here? Eager to hear views, if any, from any one of you.
First of all, you have to tell us, do you consider us as elder? Because then I'm not answering the question.
Well, millennials are folks born in the 80s. I guess we all are beyond.
Listen, I have a very contra view to this, not
Yes.
something which is perhaps a popular view. I don't believe that we need to compartmentalize employees because of the year or the era or the decade they were born in. End of the day, I think we overcomplicate our lives with that. I think there has to be mutual respect. There has to be an understanding, both for the employer, for what they stand, their value system, their value proposition, what they can offer, and your ethos and your value system to say, hey, does it resonate with me? And that's how I think you really build that approach to treating each other with that mutual respect. Frankly, it's as easy as that, Achyut, for me. But I do realize that as time has evolved and there's been just so much of exposure, organizations have to also match up to that opportunity to say, hey, what is it that employees desire today, right? It could be because of the nature of what I experienced over my career trajectory that I have formed so far. My needs at this juncture in my career are a little different than someone who's perhaps a graduate or someone who's a couple of years into their career journey. That could be different, but doesn't mean that I have to treat one differently just because they were born in a certain, time frame. End of the day, I think the basic 101 will still always remain there, which is, respect, which is ability to understand what is it that an employee desires, your ability to have candid, mature discussions with each other. Collaboration and collective wisdom is something that's going to take organizations either forward, or if you're going to continue to behave as I'm the employer, you're the employee, I will dictate what you'll do and you better fall in line. I don't think that's ever going to work, irrespective of whichever generation then you're dealing with. So
I have a point, but I'll give it to Pawan to share because I see him unmuting. Pawan, go ahead.
Yeah, thanks. So I just wanted to add 2 points to what Ritu was saying. See, while the fundamentals are right, and I don't believe in having separate policies for people, but there are two, three pointers I want to bring in. Like, I'll give you one example of a employee benefit scheme we used to have, superannuation fund. Now, that was, X percentage of employees' salary will go in there, and that will be available through annuity and some cash through LIC only. Now, that started maybe 30 years, 40 years, 50 years back. And today, there are so many options which have come in, which are better paying and all that. And what we are seeing is that the new employees who join us, not more than 3-4% are opting for that option. And so such policies we need to look at and modify them based on the new facilities which are available. And this is one example, but there will be n number of those which are going to be falling in those category. That's one. The second is that as the profile of the workforce is changing, there are gig workers, there are people who are of different type. So what happens is these days organizations are very worried about the cybersecurity, the access to their systems and all that. So I think while we want to encourage all kind of workforce, like I'll give you recently, we have launched a scheme called Reignite. This is for women on career break. And we are trying to get a woman who is still interested to restart a career. We are trying to bring them in, give them some training, give them some internship, and depending on the interest and what they qualify, later on there may be a job, or they at least go with a certificate and find a job for themselves. Now, yesterday only what the problem we are facing or solving, if we want to train them, how do we give them a laptop? How do we ensure there is a security to it, right? How do we ensure we get our asset back? Who will be responsible for it? So what I'm trying to say is that the workforce is changing, and we will have to definitely, we can't run away with the variety of workforce which is going to be there. The only thing is we will have to thoughtfully think how we make best use of technology, tools, etc., which are there with us to ensure we develop solutions which are able to safeguard the interest of organization as well as the new age employees. So I think those are some of the things I wanted to share. Thank you.
Sarika, you had a point.
Yeah, just to take an extension of Pawan, and Pawan really stole one of my point. But I will just tell you, Achyut, when I got the initial draft report from Neha today, and I was just giving a bird's eye view to the entire report before we came to this panel. And very interestingly, the way the report is pieced, I really like it. A big thank you to the entire team, Achyut, you, Nirmala, and all. The 3 workforce dimensions which you have maintained. I think that gives us, and that forms the DNA of how we design our policies and all. In terms of catering to the millennials, every offices we are relooking across the locations we have on how do we make it contemporary, how do we make it classy, and how do we really, really design it where we attract the younger talent. Coming to the jobs which you have talked about, the second dimension, to keep it agile, to keep it nimble, and innovation is the game where we really need to sustain ourselves. How do we change our systems, our portals and all, which really attracts them? How do we become an Indeed inside CGI? Or how do we become a Naukri inside CGI, where we really attract talent internally,
right,
as well as from outside? Coming to the third dimension of the report, on where we have talked about the workspace, as we are right now going through the hybrid model, and Pawan said we are happy with 50% in our organization. Pawan, because we linked it to our performance measurement outcomes, last year we clocked at 80% because we really wanted 70 to 80% of the people to come to really bring in those coffee cooler conversations or that connect to the culture of the organization. Because we felt when we did our analytics that most of our attrition are in the age group of less than 1 year tenure in the company. Because they are COVID joiners, they just don't feel the air and soak into the air of the culture of the organization. How will they come to know about the values, the beliefs, the dream, and the vision? I think that's where that workspace, that physical proximity which I'm talking about, our focus is on that. So you have hit the nail, Achyut, in your report, actually. And I think the entire participants out here and the larger world will really take some inputs from there to design their policies and benefits. But I agree with Ritu also. All of us are same. We still feel we are evergreen and young.
Yeah.
So why a different policy? But I agree with Pawan on the superannuation because we are also discussing on that right now.
Thank
So
you.
just an added perspective,
Yeah,
actually,
Tripti.
here is that, while we are in the business of mass customization, as I said, right? Agility in our business was, something that I experienced when I was going through the history of this organization. So we imagine that, print versus now digital is the new age way of looking at things. And I think how companies have evolved in this direction has been very, very remarkable. And so to say, when I draw a parallel to this from my HR perspective, and I think all of us in our own way have looked at this as an agility in offering very customized offerings to our employee base. Be it, when it comes to insurance offering, the world is changing to say that, we have more flex offerings for you. You design your own compensation. You design what kind of insurance you need for your family and your needs. I think one size fits all probably is something that works for a certain time period and for a certain job levels. But the need of the hour, especially in the context of the multi-generational workforces that we have been dealing, is something that says that, we need to give more customized offerings to our people. So that's something that I will kind of leave you with.
Thank you. And I think that's the beauty of having a diverse panel, that we have all the options covered in some way or the other. Before I move on to the last question, I have one audience question that I want to pick up, and this is regarding remote employees and productivity numbers. How do you measure productivity for remote employees? Is there a similar way? Is the way different for in-house employees? And also the cybersecurity angle for remote employees, and how are you ensuring that? So anybody wants to take a shot at it? This is an audience question I thought might be relevant.
Sure. Yeah, no, they're at Genpact, we have systems in place that capture productivity where it's needed for the production flow, if I may call it, for lack of a better word at this juncture. So that is irrespective where you're working from. It doesn't become operational only because if you're in a workspace, as in Genpact workspace, and you need to have that LAN, etc. Those days are gone. So it's a very simple application which is on your Genpact laptop, and it measures your productivity. As far as data security, we at the end of the day work with the clients who themselves could be managing the end client's data. So for us, it is of paramount importance. There will be trust deficit if we ever have an episode, God forbid, of any kind of a data breach, etc. So our info security, our legal teams, maybe, I don't know, in the industry perhaps are known to be extremely conservative, but that works for us because every country we operate in, we are extremely compliant to the T, and our info security measures and infrastructure that we've created to ensure our clients never have to worry about there being any data breach incidents has served us extremely well. So Achyuta, again, irrespective of wherever you're working from, you will be having a Genpact laptop. It has all the necessary applications, etc., in place, irrespective, therefore, whatever hours you're keeping wherever you're working from. There is all the right ecosystem in place to ensure.
So basically, location does not matter, right? I mean, it's uniform.
No.
Yes, anyone else, or I'll move to the next one. Okay, so my last question to all of you, I know we are out of time, but this is something that maybe all of you may have a short point of view. There is a lot of new digital technologies that are emerging, and what we are seeing is that the speed at which adoption is happening on technology is much faster than what it was in the past. The shelf life of the technology is also shorter. So moment you get in, you have to really make most out of it and then immediately unlearn and learn something new, right? So given this kind of an environment, and especially from an AI perspective, where generative AI is going to be a game changer, will be used across all job levels in the technology industry in varying degrees. How is your organization actually preparing to address the emergence of new job roles and, managing your employee expectations and so on and so forth? Maybe I'll just go down the table and quick 1 minute, 2 minute takes on this.
Can I go first?
Yeah, Sarika.
Yes, just 3
You're roll
points.
number 1 in school or what?
Just 1 minute, as you
Yes,
said.
please.
Yes. So, and this has been a pet project in all the IT companies. It's you have brought me over here. Anybody would have got from the big IT players, and Pawan will align to me, Ritu will align to me. I'm not sure about Tripti, but AI is the fad across the globe.
Yes.
Everybody wants to take the first mover advantage. And so has CGI been this time, that we have made a huge, huge investment on in terms of money. And we have identified a function with a very senior global leader who will be driving AI across the globe, across the geographies. In APAC, we have identified a local leader, where here also we have formed a communities of practice, which is called as AI. Coming to the L&D function, we have really done massive investment through our external partner. And it's not only focusing on leadership training on AI, be it people who are doing delivery, but people also in the client-facing roles, but also across the talent segmentation and strata of the company. So a person coming as a graduate hire from a campus is also trained. And there's all our VILT and online training through our platform, LMX. It goes up to the level of the president. And that's the focus and the impetus which is being given by each SBU and the entire organization. 2 things. One is, how do we meet and delight the shareholders? And how do we take our next wave of innovation and growth? Like you rightly said, it's changing so fast that you really hit it when the iron is hot and hit the economies of scale.
Completely agree. Sarika, I think very well said. Achyut, what I would just add is that you're absolutely right. You feel you've just got certification in something. Guess what? There are 10 more that are there on the way. But, you know, I think if you first create an ecosystem and culture of saying it is okay to not know something, you're not going to be considered, first of all, a failure. It is okay to be, however, curious about now saying, I don't know something. What can I do to become or enable myself in that regard, right? So talking openly about the fact, the importance of digital skills for everybody, not just for few. Number 2, bringing ease into those conversations so that even the non-versed, well-versed are easily able to understand and then pass it on to their teams. And then number 3, walk the talk, right? So how is it that leaders who themselves came into podiums and town halls and said, you know, I don't know this, but I'm going to go and learn on Genome, because guess what? Genpact has created that content on our knowledge management system. I'm going to come back and now in the next town hall talk about it. Our CEO did that, really kind of ensuring.
I just want to add that our CEO for this year has changed the tagline that we should not walk the talk, but we should talk the walk. So that's how we have changed the tagline.
Yeah, because absolutely. Makes a lot of sense. So yeah, that's really helped us. So to give you a data-backed example of that, where when we launched GenAI as a content on Genome, I think within 3 weeks, first of all, it was pulled together, and we already have some massive numbers of users who've already made good use of it. So over 90,000 of our employees are learning generative AI skill today. They're either at the beginner level or at an advanced level. And so the foundational capabilities, right, have already kind of set the tone that, you know, take out time, learn, it's all available and easily available. So Achyut, for us, that's what's working.
Yeah, just to add one thing from our side, that while this is a work in progress, and I think it's going to take some time, and we are all trying to understand how to go about it. But one thing which we are doing is we are distinguishing between durable skills and the skills which have short shelf-life. And when I say durable skill, we are talking about people's ability to problem-solving skill, critical thinking skill, strategic thinking skills. The thing is that these are the skills which are going to stay, whatever comes. And so we are just trying to bring people to understand that only learning coding, which can be done by somebody else now, or it can be automatically done, you need to build yourself up to deal with these new situations through building skills, which will take you far. So that's another, I think, a balancing view which we need to bring in while we solve the Gen AI issues and related problems. So that's something should be thought through.
So other spectrum that we generally hear is that, whenever we talk about AI, ML, generative AI, there is some amount of fear that comes in people's mind. And I'm talking more as an HR professional here, saying that, people do get scared that, this will replace my job. In my personal, view on this topic is that, while some amount of job, which is very manual, operational, repetitive in nature, that should be replaced, and that's the need of the hour, but that does not replace the person who is doing the job, because that person probably will be able to do much more analytical work as compared to what they were doing in terms of data collating, making sure that all the T's and I's are met before we analyze the data. So I think the shift is also from a perspective in driving the skill sets within the people to say that, what probably you're doing today, actually generative AI and ML is actually helping you move up the contribution level, or the, maybe the value in the overall maturity level of the organization, to bring in more perspective. So I think that's the shift that organizations will experience. And more importantly, from an employee scalability perspective, this is something that is a need of the hour, that you have to constantly learn and say, how can I add more? So that's my take on it, but I don't see it as a fear coming in any shape and form.
Agree. So I think this has been an excellent conversation. Thank you all for joining today and sharing your insights. Ritu, Tripti, Pawan, Sarika. Now both Neha and Nirmala said that the report will be available soon. I will go one step further and tell you exactly when it will be available, viewers. Here's the scoop. The report will be available for download on Monday morning, 11:30 a.m. That is 22nd Jan, 11:30 a.m. And we will share the free download a link to all participants once the report is live.